Hi friends, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to speak. Modern American culture has gone so awry. Indeed. This is not an AI voice. Well, let's look it up with the metadata. It's my voice. I'm not doing anything to alter it in any way electronically. I'm very grateful for the platform. I think I have a good voice. It used to be in the olden days, if I could say that term, which many people wouldn't understand. If you spoke into a platform, you're like, or a microphone, I would say, like, you'd poof, or you, like, I used to have like a hiss to my voice, like a little hiss, because it sounds too spitty. If you speak into the microphone now, they have done everything to conceal your deficiencies, I would say, with regard to your voice or your elocution. So I say that's, it's very good that many people have found success. But don't leave the old people behind. There are very few old people that appear on my, what shall we say, my algorithm. Nobody wants to look old. Like an old person talking. Put on a young person's face. I would like to look young. I'm not trying to look old. Old people like, well, I'm just going to let my hair grow gray and I'm just going to drive around like with a big gray head of hair. It's like, why don't you just shave off all your hair if you're just going to let it go gray? And it's like, why can't you do something? If you have that beautiful hair, then make it some color. No, it's just going to be gray. And I'm just going to be very defiant and gray. Like, wow. So I feel like I have a podcast that doesn't acknowledge that I'm podcasting to them. I'm uncomfortable with the term podcast because I used to listen to the radio. Well, the younger generation says podcast. But the radio is still free, it's over the air. The podcast, you have to have access to the internet, I would think, although the internet is sort of the new radio. So, as far as that goes, I caused a big scene tonight. First of all, can we start with my first of all? I don't like people attacking ICE agents, many of whom are Hispanic. I'm not Hispanic, you might mistake me for Hispanic. Everybody mistakes me for, I've been called all kinds of names. It's not fair. I thought I was German. I grew up thinking I was German. But the last time I saw my grandmother, you know what she said to me? You look like your grandfather. And that wasn't a compliment because he was supposed to be half gypsy. I like President Donald Trump. I'm not saying everything. He might be offended. Well, you keep bringing up my past things that I did. I remember what you did. I'm not like 12 years old. I remember what you did. We witnessed it, many of us. It was a terrible thing that you did to, the original wife. That was the unkindest cut of all. Maybe you don't know both sides of the story. She was kind of a jerk. Well, maybe she was kind of a jerk, but I thought only a boy could be a jerk. But maybe you were kind of... I don't want to get scatological, folks. But I have long since forgiven our president for his misdoings. But I'm living, I want tell you right now. I'm living in private hell. But it's soon to be public because nobody listens. What? I don't have Facebook Messenger installed. I know it. I'm not even getting messages in my text or something. Like it used to be that people would text me through, well, we're not really interested that much in. That's great. I'm so glad that people aren't interested, because maybe you'll listen if you're not that interested. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm not available. I am so deeply, 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 can I say it? What are you talking about yourself? I've talked to other people about. Who else is going to listen but everybody out there? Jesus will listen, but maybe some people will listen too. The situation I'm going through is very bad. You have to wait until somebody gets cancer or something. It's not going to be me. It's not going to be me. Somebody like, well, he's actually a mass murderer, and then you go and visit him in jail. That's a scenario that's, I don't know, my goodness, why did I say that? Maybe that psychopathic stare that somebody gives you, you know? You don't know what you don't know. Hey guys! Is this you? Do you buy things in the store? Like, even a Sam's Club? Well, you buy things in Sam's Club and you realize you buy things because they're very marked down very much, because they're not very popular, and you wear them out in public and people think that you're an alien from another planet, and everybody else is dressed down and wearing plaid and looking like a complete peasant. Everybody is looking like a complete peasant, even if they own... I'm sorry, where I live, if you had, I'm upping it a little bit, if you had a $500,000 mansion, that would make you a rich person. I'm really, really upping that quite a bit. And these people, it's like, I'm so addicted to shopping, and I have a wonderful car. It's very large, and it's very speedy, and I drive a big truck, even though I'm only 5'3", and I don't have to haul logs or anything. Like, it's very interesting. When I was traveling today in a small car that my brother owned, which he did previously own, which I own, a couple of like cheap plastic plant planters fell out in front of me. It's like, you stupid, it's not the first time, you stupid idiots. You start hauling things in the back of your pickup. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. If you're Christian, Raka, don't call your brother a fool. Oh no. Well, maybe you did something wrong. You're not an idiot, but it was a misjudgment on your part. Sorry. I mean, one time, like, this whole huge thing it was like a huge thing that just flew at me. Like, I want to tell you the backstory here. I want to tell you the whole story. I was driving on this road that I was used to driving on, and I was going a little bit slow. I had an older Volvo, that rhymes, and the guy's just like, really just like backdrafting me or something, like getting right up on my tail. And I'm like, well, what a jerk this guy is. So as soon as we get onto the freeway, what you have to do to get back to the city, the little small city, he just speeds around me like a bat out of hell, and something flies out of the back of his open-ended pickup truck, and it strikes me. And I'm a Christian, so I'm like, I'm trying to do the Christian thing. I'm going to the YMCA like 2 or 3 times a day, trying to do the best thing I can do. And this imbecile, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't say you fool. Oh, Jesus, forgive me. This person of, what should I say? Impaired judgment. I would say impaired judgment. So he goes into the left lane like a bat out of hell. Remember that? Who sang that song? Meatloaf. Bat out of hell. And the thing hits me. And it like strikes my bumper. It's like, I don't know if it even left a mark. And being the good Christian that I am, off the drugs, I'm like giving him the middle finger and beeping at him. He's like stopping at the side of the road. I told you so, but we won't say that, the rest of that insult, because it's wrong. As a Christian, we shouldn't say these things. Every time I try to do something, right. Like today, I'm trying to do something. This little tiny, piano bench hit me one time when I was perhaps veering off to the left, just to shop. A person with a white piano bench. It's like the piano bench is just like, you stupid. I mean, if you're not an idiot, then you must be stupid. I don't know. Maybe you're foolish. You fool, right? I mean, I don't understand how the Proverbs can talk about people being foolish. And Jesus said, you can't call your brother a fool. Well, I don't know if that's my brother or my sister. I know it's a person that has a white piano bench on the back of their pickup truck, and it just hits me in the front of my little car, which I had at the time, and it just takes off the entire license plate and the bumper at the same time. I'm like, wow, F you, I was like really mad. Why wouldn't you be, like, am I going to stop to deal with insurance companies and police? Please, I don't have anything to do with that. Please, stop it, just stop right now. Do you think that the Lord orders your steps? I'm going to send this to, like, oh, you can have my email, you can have my phone number. Mercy on my soul. I did get a good score with my verbal, was it English and verbal, language and verbal? You failed your ACT, you got a 16. Well, I might top Gavin Newsom. I never took the SAT, I took the ACT. The thing was, okay, this is going to be a very long story. My mother was a math teacher, and I am not a stupid person. I can learn things if people would take the time to teach me. And so when I was in the 3rd grade, I had a very kind teacher that we had parent-teacher conferences back then. Your daughter is really dumb with math. In fact, she's exactly stupid. Now, can we give her this little calculator? It was like a little calculator. It looked like an owl. Like she can learn the math facts. And my mom was like, yeah. But, I mean, if somebody would tutor me today, I probably could become a passable astrophysicist if you drilled me 8 hours a day for I don't know how many years, weeks, or whatever. I could become an astrophysicist. But as a child, that something went wrong with the math. I don't know how that happened, how it went wrong. My dad wondered why he wasn't good at math, too. He wondered if he was mathematically dyslexic. Sad. He never said anything. He said, Ramanujan, the man who knew infinity, right? Ramanujan, that's an Indian person. Edward Teller, he loved Edward Teller, the physicist. Why can't we be good at math? His wife was so good at math. Why can't he be good at math? I don't know, Dad. My brother was good at math. But he was younger than I was, you know? Suffice it to say, my brother passed away. And so did my mom and dad. Some people say, you're meant for this thing or that. I remember, it's so weird, folks. You're going to really think I'm weird. I'm like California weird. And I feel bad about this now, knowing that the chancellor at the time was ousted for his behavior. Let's say it that way. They kept advertising. I was a Christian, and I was a mom staying at home. And I really wanted to do the best I could to please my mother, who didn't approve of me being a stay-at-home mom. You realize that. She didn't approve of it at all. She thought I was a jerk for having too many kids. A jerk would be, I don't know, like a person who's kind of stupid or something, or kind of like evil or uncaring of others' feelings. Every time I told my mother, I'm having another kid, she's like, oh, Erica, don't tell me having another kid. That's the kind of mother I had. You know, she's not the nicest person in the world. You know, we didn't all have the most nurturing. I mean, I would be nurturing if he called me, if either one of my daughters called me, I think I'd be very nurturing, except for I wouldn't accept something. I went into like Scientology full time. Well, I would caution you against that, dear. And that's what I would say, and then they'd be mad at me, so it's okay. Yeah, as I say, it's just so sad to lose your brother. Going back in time. I would tell people, but I've told people, and they don't care. I have spilled my guts out to people that are supposed to be professionals. Wow, I'll never do that again. Ever, 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 ever in my life. I thought they could help me. I actually spilled my guts out to so many different. I'm sorry. I don't want to lose my train of thought here. Comes to mind a certain person. I can say who that was or what town it was in. I said, you know, what really seemed to, I didn't say it. I mean, she did a whole report on me. She said I was below, no, not below, but I was of average intelligence, because she doesn't know, but she's below. Now, I'm above average intelligence. I was so smart, and yet my intelligence was so squandered, and I feel my parents had a jewel in their hand, and they didn't do anything. Yeah, that's the thing I was going to talk about. That's the thing that I might have a sister that's in heaven, actually. That's a sad thing I have to think about. I was really hoping for a sibling after such a long time. And my mother showed me that she had a positive pregnancy test, and I was really excited about it. I was like 7 or 8 years old. I'm like, really excited, Mom. That's great. And then she said, well, you know, I'm not pregnant anymore. I'm not going to place the blame on her as I have in the past. It's not my place to do that. It would be up to her to admit that. If she were, whatever happens to take my little sister away, I would have loved to have a little sister so much. It would have been... I loved puppies, I loved kittens, I loved animals, any animal. A lady tried to give me chickens, you know, baby chickens, and my mother said, no, you can't have baby chickens. No, I have. I can't believe my childhood seemed to start out so, like, very, I'm like Heidi. Have you read the story Heidi by Johannes, whatever last name was? I read the story of Heidi. Life never turned out to be... Right now, I guess it does turn out to be a happy ending of a fairy tale, doesn't it? I will tell you, Adelheid, Heidi, whatever it was, I read that. My mom recommended everything. The only thing that I couldn't get into was I did read Gone with the Wind, but it's like that's a little bit scatological. It's like it's getting a little bit into romance novel territory. It's very, and I don't like, there are elements of it. Little Women. I couldn't get into Little Women. Like, oh, little women, little racially prejudiced little women that just want to kill all the black people. I didn't like that. I didn't like Little Women. She loved Little Women. She liked Joe. I don't identify with Little Women, but I really could identify with Jane Eyre. How many times did I read that novel, Jane Eyre, over and over again? And I thought, that's me, cowering in the corner, hoping the boy won't come and beat me up, you know? In fact, boys I never knew, I never did anything to them at all. Boys in my own grade, but boys in the older grade, they just decided they hated me. They started just, after my mother's, can I say this in a, not platonic, I'm sorry, non-judgmental way. My mother deeply betrayed the vows that she made to her husband, which would be my father. She did it in such a horribly injuring way, so as people would never recover. And we moved to a new school district. And I don't think that I even told my mother about any of it. I just kept mum, you know, as the English would say. And years later I found out that they abused and attacked my brother. Now that they have cams out, you know what I'm saying? They have the cams, they have the CCTV. The way they bullied me, the way they just pursued me and bullied me so much on the playground, on the sidewalk, after my mother had the, can I say it frankly, the adulterous affair, you know. You expect me to be normal if your mother had an adult? Well, my grandfather was a wonderful pastor and he really preached Jesus. my parents and my grandparents were not that way. They were not that way. Okay, let's just say it that way. Now, I remember just being publicly attacked in broad daylight by kids I didn't even know. I'm just trying to walk to the library to let my mom pick me up from school, because my mother had to work too, because she was a teacher at different vicinities. So nothing against I couldn't even say it. I was too ashamed to tell her how I'd been so attacked. Maybe I did tell her. Is it time to come out with it all? I don't know. I thought I had in various episodes. You have to repeat that as well. Okay. I seem to confuse these incidents in a bit, but I was bullied and harassed so much, and my actual glasses fogged up. They were glass glasses. They were made of glass. So you know how glass fogs up when it's misty or it's a little bit cold, and these boys I never knew. I never did anything to these people. They started chasing me, and I ran into the restroom, and I was crying, as a little girl, like, I don't know how old I was, like 11 or something. And I remember my glasses shattered on the tile pavement of the library bathroom. Is pavement the correct term to use? I'm not sure. And I was like, oh, my goodness. Like, I was so upset. And so when I told my mother what happened, she never reported that I was bullied. Never reported anything. I just had to go to like a local optician or something, optician I would say. And I had to get like this, it looked like, what is that? I can't remember that movie. It's like, it'll come back to me. It's like these horrible boys' glasses. I had to wear those. The class, they were like plastic 1970s boys' glasses with like plastic lenses. I was like, I was so ashamed to even be wearing that. But I need the glasses to see, you see? And one time I mentioned to one of my classmates, I'm sorry I'm wearing these glasses. I know I look really weird and different. She said, well, I didn't notice any difference. That's how marginalized I was. That's how much invisible I was. That's how invisible I was. I shouldn't have said how much. I should have said that's how invisible I was. So. Now, I have to reach out to other people. How can you go to anybody that has no empathy for you whatsoever? If you go to a church, like half the people are going to say, well, it's your fault. You're not wealthy enough. You don't. Am I speaking for me or just some other people or somebody else? I'm not against churches, but I'm a bit leery. I'm a bit leery of joining churches. It wasn't just one time that I had a bad experience in a church. It was at least 4 or 5 times. At the very least. Not in the Catholic Church. Not in the Catholic Church. I can't say that I had any. Well, I had one kind of uncomfortable experience after my mother's divorce, and she tried to take me back to Sunday school. And it seemed like the people were a bit snobby toward me, and they didn't really want me. And I will tell you something else, my dear friends. if you're going to be honest, just be really honest. Well, then I will be very honest. I went to a Baptist church after my parents' unfortunate dissolution, we'll say it that way. And I sat in that Baptist church, and a lady teaching Sunday school said, in the Catholic Church, they teach them to worship Mary. I was never taught to worship Mary. Maybe I was just a little girl and, I didn't know what was going on, but my mother had rosaries, around the house, but I was never. It's not wrong to have the rosary beads, of course. I don't know, what's going on with the rosary beads. I thought that's really shocking that she would say that. We never worshiped the Virgin Mary. I thought anytime I went to that Catholic church, I thought that I was really. I'm sorry, I'm just. I thought that I was really encountering God. Jesus, whatever you say, Never going to come to the end. A person pursued me, and I was vulnerable to that pursuit. Now, we want to talk about Sigmund Freud. I think my dad sold the book, but I remember many times it was like a Time Life book. My dad had it on his bookshelf. He really loved Sigmund Freud. On the back cover was Sigmund Freud with a cigar and his daughter Anna. That's really kind of strange. I don't know. My dad was very interested in psychology. Keep going, keep going, keep going. We're recording. I know you're recording. That's great. I thought, Sigmund and his daughter Anna looked so beautiful. I thought she looked very pretty. I thought my dad really admired Sigmund Freud. But let's get back to the idea that people's experiences are being invalidated or erased. Well, you said that, but that didn't really happen. So many times when I was a kid, I would tell my parents, children, I almost said children, I don't know why. I would tell them, people are hurting me. They ignored me. In fact, I'll tell you this in confidence, which I know it's going to be broadcast over the entire world. My mother's first job was in a bakery, and she loved it. I think my mother must have been a great employee at the bakery. Nothing wrong with that. And I believe, it's my opinion, that she innocently, maybe she ignored the warning signs, of course. She ignores everything. She just does what she wants to do. That's the kind of mother she was. She got me a job at this place. It's like a toll depot. You know what I'm saying? Like a depot. all these girls, all the teenage girls, they're just doing, they're having like, they're fornicating. Can we put it that way? And older men are coming in there and soliciting them. It's almost like a hub, you know? A hub, depot, that kind of thing. Why in the world my mother, I think, you know, on the one hand, I think she was entirely clueless. On the other hand, I don't know. You know, I don't know my mother anymore. It's like you could never really, after, it was the, all right, folks, let's end with this. The utter betrayal. The utter betrayal, folks. It's not very nice to talk about it. Nobody likes to talk about it, but it must be spoken about. After many years of us, my mother had this beautiful plaque when I lived in the basement. You know, I lived in the basement for many years with spiders that bit me. You know, spiders would bite me all the time. You know, like whether it was the spiders were always getting me, the spiders were always after me. I don't like spiders, you know, because it was Australians can relate to that. She had this beautiful plaque that she hung up. And I think that my mother really, I want to think that she really loved me. She put this plaque up that I memorized since I was a little girl, even when I had to kneel on a basement floor. Partially finished basement, I would say. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. Guide me through the starry night. I'm choking up. Wake me with morning light, amen. I think that my mother genuinely meant to protect me at one time. Then she got involved with, she's just, you know, she's kind of an alcoholic, so she goes into the bar scene and she's listened to the Eagles like, what kind of love have you got? You should be home, but you're not. I know, exactly. Remember many, many, many lonely nights waiting for my mother to come home from bar after she got off work from her teaching job. She didn't want to have anything to do with me. She's just like, she smoked at the bar. Right now, I would love to have everything to do with my daughters, but they want to have nothing to do with me. So happy anniversary to me, number 33. Boom! Let's go, baby.